Positive Behavior Intervention Supports, PBIS in the Head Start Classroom. An explanation for classroom volunteers. Positive behavior intervention supports are methods of interacting with and teaching children what behaviors we want and expect to see in the home and in the classroom. Just like parents, teachers, and other adults involved in children's lives who teach how to read, how to play games, how to do math, we want to show our children at this critical age how to behave. Social emotional skills are extremely important for a child's success in school, and yet the development of these skills is often taken for granted. Some of these key skills include confidence, the capacity to develop good relationships with peers and adults, concentration and persistence on challenging tasks, the ability to effectively communicate emotions, the ability to listen to instructions and be attentive, and the ability to solve social problems. So what do children do when they don't have each of these skills? Children will often exhibit challenging behaviors. Natural emotions like anger, sadness, and frustration will often manifest in tantrums, disruption, and defiance. So how do we avoid these behaviors? PBIS calls for adults to teach social-emotional skills. There are some basic assumptions you as models can make about a child's challenging behavior. Number 1, challenging behaviors sends a message. I'm bored, sad. You hurt my feelings. I need some attention. Number 2, this behavior is used when a child doesn't have the social or communication skills needed to engage in more appropriate interactions. Number 3, it's important to remember that when a behavior is persistent, it has worked for the child in the past. That is, it has met their need. Number 4, with these assumptions in mind, the adults in a child's life must focus on teaching children what to do in place of the challenging behavior. So let's lay the groundwork for this modeling. Our classroom design is aimed at creating an environment where every child feels good about coming to school, where child engagement is promoted, and where children are taught expectations, routines, and skills to be used instead of challenging behaviors. You might see this in the labeling of classroom items and objects in both English and Spanish. Also in the posters showing how to calm oneself with belly breaths, or how to share and solve problems. Teachers also may post the daily schedule in visual form and refer and of course adhere to this schedule throughout the day. We can promote success with intentional environments and also with our own attitudes and reactions to challenging behaviors. Positive reframing is an amazing tool for adults to reflect on situations and to model empathy for the children involved. So we can think, wow, he whines from the moment he gets here until the time he gets on the bus to go home. Or we can recognize that, he must really miss his family. We can say, she is clingy not only to her mother, but with other adults as well. Or we can reframe this positively. She might be slow to warm up in new settings or in the presence of other children and adults. We might see a child and think, I have to watch him like a hawk, or he'll run down the hall or go out the gate. Or we can reflect and say, he may not understand my expectations about staying in the group, or maybe he's very active. Oh my gosh, she constantly knocks over other children's constructions or destroys other children's artwork. We can reframe this with empathy and think, she may want to join other children's play, and she may not know how to ask. Or she may be frustrated because she does not know how to play with the materials or complete her art project. These examples not only help us positively get through challenging situations, but they also allow us to recognize the skills that a child needs to improve upon and what we can do to support this child. One of the best ways to support a child is to build a relationship with him or her. When a child has healthy, supportive relationships, they feel accepted in the group, and they learn how to communicate and get along with others. These relationships encourage empathy and mutual respect among children and adults, and they provide that learning environment where children can practice appropriate and acceptable behavior. This is a safe environment where a child can, quote-unquote, fail, but receive guidance for the future. So building relationships is important because it feels awesome in our hearts, and also because it acts as a prevention method. Relationships are at the foundation of everything we do, and building them from the start is more effective for promoting success than waiting until a problem arises. Furthermore, children learn and develop in the context of relationships, especially those that are responsive, consistent, and nurturing. So why this is important? Well, children with the most challenging behaviors especially need these relationships, and yet their behaviors often prevent them from benefiting from those relationships. Adults' time and attention are very important to children, and we need to be sure that we give them that time and attention at times other than when they are engaging in challenging behavior. So we need to pay attention to and acknowledge appropriate behavior exhibited by all the children, and especially those that usually exhibit challenging behaviors. Parents and other colleagues, such as mental health providers and therapists, are critical partners in building children's social-emotional competence. We should all work together to ensure children's success and prevent challenging behavior. Parents, teachers, and you, the volunteers, must invest in positive relationships. This brings intention to your actions as a model for children, and also creates a bank of experiences and lessons from which you can make withdrawals at opportune moments. When you play with a child, you build their self-esteem and their trust in you and your ideals. When you give your time and attention to a child, you have the opportunity to recognize appropriate behaviors and reinforce your expectations. Remember that your interactions double as lessons in social-emotional skills like empathy and how to share. With this, you give a child a chance to practice and begin to understand how their actions have consequences. Have fun with this investment. You can make a big impact by sending notes home or giving a child something that immediately shows them how happy you are to know them and how happy you are to see them demonstrate their skills. A little acknowledgement adds up. When you show a child you care about something they did, they remember. So we'll make sure to recognize the positives. How can volunteers use PBIS to build relationships in our program? Volunteers can be consistent, be attentive, and be willing to engage. Think of ways that you can make the children feel special and loved. Be welcoming. Promote the positive, caring environment. Share yourself with the children in the classroom. And always use positive language and positive reframing. Volunteers can also join teachers in referencing the B rules of the classroom. The B rules are to be a friend, be a worker, and be safe. It is important to tell children when they are exemplifying the B rules. These positive affirmations help them learn, and you can also refer to them as behaviors you'd like to see in place of challenging behaviors. For example, if a child is running in the classroom, say, Be safe. Use walking feet inside. Or perhaps you see a child cleaning her dish after lunch. Say, "Wow, you sure are being a good worker." Or you see a boy sharing a toy with a classmate. Recognize him. You are being a great friend. So now you can brainstorm. What do the B rules look like in the classroom?